Well, hi and welcome back. Today we are here with Marisa from Marisa and the Moths. I am so excited to have you here today. We actually connected for the first time, I think, a couple years ago on TikTok, and holy cats! Like so much has happened in the past couple years for you and your band, and just thank you for being here today.
No, thank you so much for having me. And yeah, it's really good to be able to catch up with you properly again.
Yeah.
And we can talk about all of the fun stuff that's been going on. It's been a bit of a mad time, really.
Yes, especially this year, it seems things are really picking up in a big way for you, which it makes me so happy because you know what? I've been following you for a few years and seeing the hard work that you put in. And especially, I see just how engaged you are on like socials and things like that and really connecting with your fan base. And, you know, it's something special and but the hard work shows. And so it's really good to see. Yeah. So this year you put out your second album, right?
We
And
did, yeah.
you actually hit number one on the rock charts in the UK, which is no small feat. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so our second album, What Doesn't Kill You, we released it on the 3rd of May this year. And thanks to our incredible fan base, somehow managed to get to number one. We were pretty shocked, to be honest. We didn't expect that kind of success, I guess, from our second album, releasing it independently and everything. But the support that we've had in the creation process and release process of this album has just been phenomenal, to be honest. So I feel like it's our achievement, but it's kind of the fans as well, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
because it feels like a real team effort. There are a lot of things working against us through lockdown as a band. I mean, like for so many other musicians and artists out there that struggled for various reasons. And yeah, they kind of just kept us fighting through. So we owe a lot to them, and we absolutely love our fan base.
Yeah, and I know you have a very, very loyal fan base too, which I think it makes all the difference when you're just continuing, your growth trajectory, right? It's makes a difference because it kind of snowballs then.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you have to have strong foundations to be able to build something massive, right? So that's
Yeah.
I feel like we definitely have that. So fingers crossed. It's
It's
going the
just
right
going to
way.
keep going. Yes. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And today was actually a very exciting day for you too because we were just talking before we got started here. You have been able to announce your first US publishing deal. And I mean, that's massive because like every British act. I think it goes both ways. Actually, I think like every British act wants to like break into America, but the Americans all want to break the UK. So,
Yeah,
but
definitely the case. Yeah.
like
Um,
you're doing it though.
Thank you. Yeah, it's one of those things, right? So, I'm sure if anyone's listening to this right now is an artist, actually not even just artists. I feel like there's so many spam emails that you get if you're using your emails for business reasons. When these guys first got in touch with us, Renaissance Records, me and Peter, my partner that helps to co-manage the band, we ignored the first few emails because we just thought it was like a hacker or something because we get quite a lot of those. And then we realized they were legit. And yeah, they really kind of fought to get our attention. And we get on so well with them. They're like the loveliest team of people. Um, so yeah, we just announced the distribution deal today. And it's all kind of like going ahead. It will be November 22nd that the album, for both of our albums are going to be available in US stores in North America, but the deal's actually worldwide, so they're going to be working with us to release in different areas as well as kind of as we progress. So yeah, and also hopefully going to be in talks with some booking agents and things over in the US. So that's obviously like, as you say, we,
Huge.
we really want to break the US like fully. So touring is a massive part of that. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I think, you know what? I'll be honest, even though I'm Canadian, over half my listeners are American. And it's
Mm.
interesting because there actually is quite a buzz about you in America already. And I don't know if you're aware of how much of a buzz there is, but it is actually, it's massive. And so I think there's only going to be really good things that come out of this for you and, the whole band. It's exciting. And I think
Like,
it's a lot to celebrate.
absolutely. It's a bit mad, isn't it? Like, I mean, it's amazing how with today, like as an independent artist, you can release your own music, and obviously it can reach a lot more people more easily in that sense. But it's kind of hard to know, I guess, like where the biggest buzzes are, even if you try and look at stats and things of where people are listening. But yeah, we have had quite a few American fans kind of reach out to us over the last few years, which has been nice. But yeah, I'm really excited to explore that more, and I'm just really hoping that we get some shows booked in the next year, because
Yeah.
that's the big thing for us for sure.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And we know they'll love you over there. uh, we were talking about a little bit about mental health and, you know, using music as a tool for healing and taking care of things. I said to you, and I wish I actually didn't bring it up with me, but just the artwork on this album, when I first opened it, I went like, oh shit, like that's that's heavy. And it looked to me, it just really seemed like it came from a really vulnerable and open place. And I'd love it if you'd want to share a little bit about it.
For sure. So yeah, this recent album that I released with my band, it was inspired by the breakdown of a relationship I was in that was quite abusive, and the whole concept of it is basically meant to represent the process of grief and how that kind of ebbs and flows, and how not it's a non-linear process. Like one
Mm-hmm.
day you could be feeling like you're getting yourself together and you're feeling better in yourself, and then the next day everything falls apart, or it can be minute by minute, to be honest.
Yeah.
And how it can kind of make you quite insular and kind of go inside yourself a lot, but especially when you're dealing with things like the after effects of abuse. Gaslighting is pretty awful. Sorry, something's dinging in the
No,
background.
it's okay. Don't worry.
I tried to turn it off. But yeah, it's difficult to unravel those sorts of feelings and thoughts, because the way that I felt at the time when all that stuff was happening is that my whole reality had been shattered, and I kind of like completely lost myself. I went into that relationship feeling like I was in the strongest place in my life, and I really knew who I was finally, after kind of I've always struggled with anxiety and depression. I had eating disorders for years as well. Sorry if that's too honest, too quick,
No,
but
I want it to
um,
be totally honest. So,
yeah. So I carried that with me, but I was working on myself. I was really
yeah.
trying, and this guy seemed to be something that he turned out just not to be at all. So uh, leading a double life as well. But I won't go into it
Oh,
too much. But yeah, there was a lot of stuff there. I was also working with this person, so he sort of had control over me in that sense as well. He used the work that we were doing together to control me, and it was a scary time when I got out of that situation. I really wanted to use it for something good, because I think that's in my nature. Like you said, like music is a way of healing, not just for listeners who reach out to find music that can help them, but for the writers themselves. And
yeah.
I wanted to be like a voice or a hug for somebody else that might come across some music that needs to hear those words. Um, but at the same time, like not just creating something in that emotional sense, but in a musical sense, I wanted to challenge myself and really push us as a band and see what we could do in terms of
Yeah.
just making them in really enjoyable songs to listen to, because the more people that can connect with the music, the better, right? So it was a bit heavier in places, the new album, because it
Yeah.
would definitely be the theme. Um, but some of it's kind of even more stripped in places. So it's like a real journey. But again, that is kind of to do with that process of grief and the
Yeah.
representation of that, and like the sort of light and dark of that journey.
It's it's so true. So, I mean, even part of why I started this podcast is part of a healing process for me too. I mean, I left an abusive marriage in 21, and and I still deal with PTSD coming out of it, and I think, yeah, it's not like it takes time, right? And you are so right, because there are things that come up for me now, and it's been 3 years, right? That I am like, well, that came out of left field, and you're right. So it's this journey and it's this process, and I think when you use your voice like you do in your music, and with the lyrics and with the photos and everything else, it paints that picture. And it really, I think it shows that somebody strong like you can get through this and can heal, and they can be a voice of hope for other people experiencing it. And that is, it is so empowering, and it is so incredible. And I'm sure that both of us have listened to other, let's just say, is just other female artists, and been inspired by them and been like, she's incredible, and I feel strong because of her. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, firstly, can I just say I'm really sorry for what you went through, and it's really saddens me how many people that I meet that, well, a lot of our fans have actually opened up to me about their own personal situations that are similar, and
Mm-hmm.
why they connect to the music as well for similar reasons. But yeah, it's sad how common it is, but it is a serious problem, and I feel like it's quite isolating. So yeah, definitely. If I can be even a small part of like helping someone to come out of that space, then I feel like I have a purpose. That's why I wanted
Yes.
to do. That's why I wanted to write songs to help people in that sense. So yeah. But yeah, so I've lost my trail of thought a little bit because I'm in a bit emotional. But
No, sorry.
yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay. It's real. It's a real thing. It's a real thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Real life, and there are feelings around it. So
And
if I didn't, sorry, you carry on.
no, 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 no. Go ahead.
I know. I was just gonna say like if it wasn't real, I feel like people would know,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm pretty like strong. I have strong feelings about making sure whatever I write is about a real thing, because yeah, I think even if you're not a musician, people aren't stupid. They can tell when something's insincere.
Mm.
And music, as much as AI is trying to take our jobs right now,
Yeah.
you can't replace real life, human emotion and human experience, because that's why people need music, you know?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And you were so right about that. I think you can't emulate it because there's so many little nuances, right, that a computer won't pick up, even as smart as they might be. Um, yeah, there's something, and especially because everybody's experience is different too. So you might connect more with one person's experience versus another, right? And it's,
Mm,
yeah, but it's life changing. I mean, it's truly life changing. I'm not just making it sound fluffy. It's life changing to know that you are not alone, and that, and you're not crazy.
mm.
That,
It is a kind of magical time right now with, I mean, I have mixed feelings about TikTok and things like that, but actually there's a lot of good things that have come out of it, like the fact that we are talking more about these issues, and it's becoming more normalized to talk about these issues and people's feelings, and not just women as well,
yeah,
because men suffer with these same issues. And actually I've been lucky enough to have some amazing male fans open up to me about some really quite horrific experiences they've gone through, and they trusted me with that information, and it's been a really amazing experience just to like get to connect with people on that level as well.
yeah, absolutely. And you know what? And that you've created this safe space and this community that people feel like they can open up. That's something else that you should really be giving yourself a pat on the back for. It's because it does save lives, and it does change lives.
So I feel like it's the fans that have done it. I just talk too
Yeah.
much, and to be honest.
No,
And they're like,
I
oh wow.
I don't think that you can really be too honest. Do you know what I mean? Because I think I think it's a quality that people end up really admiring in a person, right? That like you're being too honest about yourself, too honest about yourself and how you feel and things like that, right? And it comes from a place of love and, an open heart. I think that's where it comes from you, right? And that desire to make the world a better place, you know. And I think that's why people can really connect with it.
Thank you. Yeah, well, it's been amazing so far, and yeah, we're still obviously it's quite early days, a few months in kind of having released it. So hoping that's just the start. Like we've got our proper. We did a few tour dates when we released the album, but we've got the proper full tour kind of starting 2 weeks from today, actually.
Yes.
So really excited for that, and having given people a couple of months to listen through and kind of learn the words, hopefully, so we can sing them together. It'll be really fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And yeah, you have a number of dates for that too, don't you? Like,
Yeah, we're doing 16 across the UK. So we've also, well, we've not announced it yet, but we've got a bunch of festivals booked for next year, including our first ever European festival in France. And so I can't
oh,
say the full details for that yet, but it's a really big thing for us. It's going to be one of the new announcements that we're going to put on socials shortly. So yeah, it's all kind of things are slotting into place. Everything seems to kind of be happening. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I'm going to keep our heads down, working hard.
yeah. Well, absolutely. And I think when you work hard and you do good work, then the good things do just keep coming. So I don't think you have to worry too much. I don't think.
Thanks. Oh my god, you're so lovely and complimentary, and I'm like, I don't know what to do with compliments.
This is where you say, wow, thank you. I'm learning that too. Have you found it hard to accept a compliment, like just in general, forever?
um, Generally, yeah, it's not something that comes natural. But I'm getting a bit better. Like I'm trying to be less awkward about it because I really just probably making the other person feel more awkward than it does me. So one thing.
That's actually true. When you don't know how to respond, you're like, oh, thanks.
Yeah,
but,
I just
but
tend to make a joke and like be a bit goofy about it.
yeah, I don't know. But I think, you know what? People wouldn't compliment you if they didn't mean it. Do you know what I mean? And so I think
Yeah,
that's been a hard lesson. That's something I'm trying to really be like, yes, I am awesome. Thank you. But it's
yeah,
hard to
awesome.
it's hard to accept those sometimes, right? And I think when we're like learning how to how to accept it and just be like totally take it into and use it as part of our power, I think it just makes us better, you know? And
Definitely.
even though we've probably, well, I know we've both had shitty people around us in the past, the
Mm,
things that it's that understanding that the things that they said and that they did were not reality for like the rest of the world about us.
mm.
Do you know what you mean?
Yeah, it also probably stems from their own pain and that kind of the projection of that. Because
Mm,
generally, I don't think people are born at like as abusers. There's usually a history with that, and
mm,
as much as it breaks the kind of, I don't want to say victim, the person that it happens to, the abused,
yeah,
um, there's strength in that. And one of the lyrics from one of my songs, "If You Knew," it's never broken, never moved. I do
right.
feel like there is power in pain somewhat, because without kind of being forced to kind of pick yourself back up together, and so you see yourself in a new light, you see what you're capable of, you find you can actually understand how strong you can be, and
Yes.
also it can lead you to the next thing that you're meant to do that you wouldn't have otherwise gone to look for. Because I think people can, we're naturally quite good with being comfortable. If nothing's wrong, why would we want to change it?
Yeah.
um so yeah, bit of the volatility of that is not such a bad thing. And I'm trying to look at it in a good way.
I know, and I agree. And you know what? And I think too, even as difficult as it is now dealing with it 3 years later, my life has completely changed for the best since that happened.
That's great to hear.
And
Yeah.
I'm just like, yeah, no, I'm finally allowing myself to become that awesome person that I want to be, you know? And so it's, yeah, it's freeing and it's transformative.
That's so great to hear. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is, and it takes a bit of time. Anyone that's listening right now that might be going through it, and maybe it's all fresh, and you or you haven't left yet. Um, there is light at the end of the tunnel. It will be hard, but if you can push through it, it'll be so worth it. Like 100 million times over.
Yeah.
Just keep going. Believe in yourself because you deserve better than being at
Yes.
the bottom of someone's shoe.
Yes, absolutely. I think too, having support around you when you first leave, especially, is so important. I don't know how you felt, but I've been describing it to people like you see like the firemen carrying people out of a fire, and they're like dying from smoke inhalation. I felt like that person, and then I had to have the people carry me out of the
Mm,
fire and,
definitely.
you know, um, give me water and feed me and all these things. And that's kind of the only way that I can think of to describe it. But you don't have to be trying to escape the fire on your own. You let the firefighters help you, right? Let everybody help you and rally around you because you're definitely loved.
Absolutely. I mean, I mean, I am lucky enough that I have amazing friends and family, and they were trying to help when they realised because this person I was with also kind of convinced my friends and family of things that weren't true as well, and kind of isolated me from them, which I didn't know was a thing about abuse until later. But I felt so much shame when I was coming out of it that I didn't want to accept the help, and it was like I couldn't really accept what was happening either, and I was
Yeah.
in a very dark mental space as well, and kind of shut myself off from other people. And actually, in the end, it wasn't even like friends and family that kind of saved me. Sorry for the like super honesty here, but Samaritans, which is a charity,
Yeah.
you can call them. It's like basically a suicide helpline. I was not in a good way, but I don't know why that I felt like I could call them, but I couldn't call a friend or a family because I guess I just thought they didn't want me. But that's the headspace that this person had got me into.
Yeah.
And the only reason I wanted to say that, by the way, is purely for the benefit of anyone that might be listening that maybe doesn't even have that their family anymore. Maybe they passed or they don't live near them or something. Like
Yeah.
there are charities all over the world that are set up to help you in these sorts of situations. And
Yeah.
for me, the Samaritans were one as well. I also did a charity fundraising and like awareness raising campaign with this charity called Dash. Again, they're based in the UK, but
Yeah.
again, one's very similar to them all around, and they go in and help men and women that are dealing with domestic violence and abuse. And we were like raising awareness about it and shared some stories. Actually, some fans came online with me to do interviews, and we talked through their own
Oh,
personal stories as well, live streaming it. So yeah, they helped me a lot, and I just wanted to kind of give back and let people know that that exists, and I'm doing that again now because I feel like when you're in the situation, you're like,
yes.
it can be like, I don't know what to do, and I should maybe just not do anything, or a worse thought. So please don't ever
Yeah.
think you're alone, even if you don't have friends and family.
Yeah. And you are worth getting the help. I
Mm.
I know my family is all in Canada, and so I'm here in Essex, right? And so yeah, I was alone, and it was still kind of like the tail end of lockdown. And for
Oh, that must
me,
have been tough.
yep, it was not very pleasant. How about that? For me, I used Women's Aid. I used Changing Pathways, And there is also a national domestic violence hotline that you can call. And they're, they all are just so incredible, so helpful, and even offering therapy services. And, if needed, they do shelters and just absolutely fabulous. So there are tons of resources in the UK, and I'm honestly, I'm so thankful for them.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. There's so many beautiful humans out there that just giving up their time to try and help others. So yeah, and
Yeah.
I just want to say I'm really glad that you're out of that awful part of your life and feeling better now because
Yeah, me too.
you are awesome.
Oh, thanks. Well, gosh, and you know, you've been you've been healing though, and I think, you know, is that going to be maybe a theme throughout all the rest of, in future music and things like that too, where you're talking about your experiences and, you know, and continuing to help
Absolutely,
people?
definitely. And I still feel like I've got a lot to draw on from what happened before, to be honest, and everything that's kind of I've been dealing with since. I mean, to be honest, even the process of releasing this album was a lot. Like I had full on panic attacks the week of the release. I think just purely because if I'm honest with myself and everyone, like I poured myself into my work instead of and trying to help others rather than actually dealing with what happened to me. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And like poured it into these songs and then was just like, right, let's make them as good as they can be in a recording and let's get all these music videos done and let's do all of the release stuff. And just honestly, the amount of time that took from me, it meant I didn't have to sit with my feelings, I just poured myself into my work. So it really hit me hard when it was like, oh, it's done now and it's going out into the world. And yeah, it's been weird. Like I went into a real burnout period and just like kind of had to stop for a bit over summer. And yeah, I've been doing some healing definitely in the last few months and getting my strength back to kind of get back into it full pelt again. But I definitely want to write more empowering stuff going forward as well.
Yeah.
I've sort of dipped my toe in the water with a little bit with that already, but and speaking up about things that aren't right. Obviously, from a woman's point of view, and I feel very passionately about kind of the serious amount of sexism that still seems to be dominating the world. But uh, yeah, just we'll see. I feel like I can't really say for sure
No.
what I'm going to write about because it comes from. It's just like I have a moment of inspiration. And I'm like,
And here it is.
yeah, exactly that.
But I mean,
But
that
yeah,
that's it's so nice. Have you how are you now taking care of yourself then? Like, you doing yoga, eating right, all
I
the good
am.
things?
Yeah. How did you
Good.
know? I love yoga. I started doing yoga like again properly a few months ago and I'm obsessed. So love it. That and trying to eat healthier and stuff like that. Which I mean, I didn't eat badly before, but I'm just really, really making more time for health and fitness, which sounds like obvious, but I mean, being a musician is pretty full on, touring all the time and stuff like that. It's really easy to forget
Yeah.
and to not do the right thing. So I'm trying, to find a better balance and to make time to spend time with my family more often as well, because I can be really bad at just working constantly, which I'm still working a
Yes.
lot, but making more time for my family. So yeah, that's been really nice.
Yeah, and that's it. It's finding that balance because I'm like, oh, I don't have anything else to do. I'll just work. And
Right.
yeah, that's not healthy.
Yeah,
even
no, I
even
know.
if you absolutely love your work, it's still
Yeah.
like you still need that time out.
Definitely. Well, it's like, especially for working in social media kind of area and stuff, it's the internet never sleeps.
Nope.
And if you've got to create content, it's a lot of time and effort that goes into creating it. So it's kind of like non-stop. And then if you add travel on top of that as well, it's like yeah, you don't really come up for air too much. So yeah, and my advice to anybody else, kind of like maybe going through burnout, just be like, just to pause and freaking just breathe and breathe out. I that sounds really random, but I did a like health retreat recently, and that
Yeah.
was what I left, and that was my reminder to myself was to breathe out, because I feel like I'm always like really
You
anxious
hold your
and moving
breath.
around, and like holding my
Yeah.
breath in and never. So it's like, oh, actually, it's okay. It's all gonna be okay. I can handle this.
Yeah, I know. I do that too. I really kind of crunch my shoulders up and I don't realize it even, but then I'm like, oh yeah. Whew. And so I saw a thing today on Instagram and it was like, relax your shoulders. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay. Oops. I've been busted. But it's those little things and
Yeah,
it takes away so much tension from your body and you're like, oh, no, actually everything does feel good. I'm like, I am okay. But if you're holding your breath or holding your shoulders, it's you're constantly like, "Ugh," it's just tense.
exactly. Which also is really unhelpful as a singer, by the way. Any kind of
Yes.
tension up here is just, oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, you gotta open
Because
it up.
sorry.
You gotta open up everything.
Exactly, exactly. And actually, if I'm honest, like, I'm sure you can probably relate. I feel like anyone that's gone through some sort of severe emotional trauma, eventually it does attack your body as well. And I haven't really opened up about this to anyone really, but I have endometriosis, which is really hard to deal with anyway. But also as a result of, I think, the things that I've been through, I've had a series of like quite bad illness as well, on and off, all around tour, and it just wipes me out when it happens. And a few times it's made me lose my voice, and it's not from bad technique. I know it's not, and I think it was like, again, I've been having some kind of therapy and treatment stuff recently, and kind of we got to the bottom of it, and it's a bit psychosomatic, a lot of it, and also just not because I wasn't dealing with the emotional trauma, I was carrying it in my body. So I've been trying to like purge that, and so that I can be sort of set free in that sense, and it's really made such a difference. So yeah, I just anyone, again, if you're a workaholic and you're not taking time to deal with your stuff, it will come back to bite you. So I really recommend just getting it done. Just take some time off, get some therapy, do what you got to do. But you know,
It's true.
it just body keeps its toll.
Yes, and it will come back to get you. It's funny because I that's another thing I say though is I lost my voice in that marriage. And at the end of it, I mean, I was reduced to like pretty much a whisper. And I look back because I put my little album reviews up on TikTok, right? I'm like, ooh, I love this album. But if you go way back to when I started that account, I started it fresh out of the marriage, and I'm like, I can barely speak in so many of them. But now here I am. I have a weekly podcast, and I'm talking to like friggin' everybody all the time. And I'm still soft spoken because I, like I say, I always have been, but my voice now is so much stronger than it used to be. And I did feel that, like the literal like lump in the throat, but it was based on trauma, nothing
Yeah,
else. There wasn't anything wrong with me except that. So
absolutely. You know, I'll tell you what this therapist said to me recently, and because I was saying about not having a voice, and it was like, is it because you don't have a voice, or is it because you are afraid of not being heard or not being good enough? And it was like, mic drop. I was like,
like,
oh. So all I'm going to say to you is that maybe that's the same for you, is that because you weren't being heard, it's like he took your voice, you
yep,
know.
absolutely. And I think, and constantly being told to be quiet, or if there was any like, I don't know, and then, you're hushed. And it sounds silly when you say it like that, but it's so,
Mm,
so real. It absolutely is.
absolutely, yeah, definitely. Oh no, well, I say I'm glad it's not just me, but I'm kind of like, I'm not glad.
No, I know what you
Unfortunately.
mean though. But again, it comes back to you are not alone. And all this shit that we think that like it's just me and nobody knows what I'm going through. No, I think so many people do know a lot more than we feel that they do. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah. I feel well, I mean, Christ, if you listen to any of the songs that I've written with my band, you'll probably hear a lot of that experience coming through. But I really feel like, unfortunately, a lot of people can relate to it. But it's just the human condition, isn't it? There's a lot of good and bad in people, and sometimes we meet the wrong matches and end up in situations we'd rather not be in. And but they are there to teach us lessons. In my
Mm-hmm.
case, I write songs about them. And I mean, just hopefully it can help some of you, and hopefully you like listening to them. I think
Yes,
that's it.
absolutely. Aw. Well, I know we're a little bit tight for time today, so I won't keep you too long. But I'm I'm so happy that we could connect, and I'm hoping I can come out to one of your shows in the next few weeks. And
That'd be
it's
awesome.
it's yeah, it's such a pleasure, and it's so again, it's just so nice to know that you're not alone and that we all find peace and comfort within music. And thank you for being part of
No,
that.
thank you for sharing your story with me and for inviting me to come and chat with you because it's been lovely. And it's really important to talk about this stuff. I'm always up for this kind of thing. And yeah, if anybody out there, again, if you are in a situation like this, please reach out because there are so many people just waiting to give you a hand to get out of that situation. And yeah, sending love to you all. And hopefully, I'll get to see you in a few weeks. Actually.
Yes. If people are going to come follow you online, where is the best place to connect with you?
Our website, marisaandthemoths.com, has all the links ever, but we're on all the social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, the full shebang. So whatever's your favorite place to connect. I'd probably say Facebook and Insta are like our main
Your
ones.
top. Yeah.
Everybody has the main ones, don't they?
Yeah.
And yeah, thank
And we'll
you
put all the
for
links in the show notes for you. And so then everybody can
perfect.
come
Thank you.
follow along. Aw. Well, thank
Lovely.
you.
Oh, we've got a new music video coming out as well. Sorry, I just forgot to mention.
No. Yeah, yeah. When's that
Um,
going to be out?
there are actually, well, we've just recorded a couple of music videos actually, but the first one is going to be out a week Monday, and
Okay.
I'm also just about to announce I'm going to be singing for a friend of mine at their shows coming up soon, and that's all I can say right now. But keep an
Ooh.
eye on socials because it's going to be any day now that it gets announced. So very exciting.
Oh, I cannot wait. I'm really excited. And thank you again so much for being here today. I really appreciate it. And
Oh no, thank you. You're so lovely.
oh, thanks. Now you're going to make me cry.
It's
So,
okay. I was like,
um, well, then I'm sending you lots of love and thank you again. And we will catch up soon. Here's a heart back.
yes.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye.
you again, Ashley.